Okay, so I filmed this whole little segment on this chapter earlier. It's on the Rick Rubin, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. Basically, earlier this morning when I went to get coffee, maybe I'll have a clip before this or something of what I have. I read some of this book and read some more of it, and I wanted to talk a little bit about a specific part of it, but this camera ran out of storage. Everything that I own right now is running out of storage. So basically, the last chapter that I read, this one, it's called Habits, and basically, there's a few key points in this chapter that Rick Rubin brings up. And maybe you guys will connect with it. I'm sure if you read the chapter, you would connect with it. A lot of it is stuff that's seemingly like common sense, but it's good. I think the one thing I think that people skip over with books like this is they're like, I already knew this, but it's about actively thinking about a lot of these thoughts. Yeah. So this part says, the only person you're ever competing against is yourself. The rest is out of your control. This leads into the chapter which talks more about habits in your life, but this part is something that I struggle with a lot, with not recognizing. Actually, I wouldn't say I struggle with it, but I think that it's easy to forget, especially in a world with so much going on, and a world where we take in so much information every day, and we have to, because the world right now changes every single day. It's a little, I was talking about this with one of my friends earlier today. It's unfortunate, but when we were younger, I feel like if you didn't check the news for 4 days or a week or whatever, not much changed. But now it's like, you lose your rights today. Tomorrow this law changes, that's crazy. Now abortion's good. It's like something crazy is happening every single day, and you really have to be present in it, and you really have to stay knowledgeable about what's going on. And in the past, we had the luxury of kind of trusting with certain things, and I'm not saying that this is true all the time, right? Things weren't always good, and they weren't always easy, and I'm not saying they ever were good. There's always been problems for all different types of people, but what I'm getting at right now is it's terrible for everybody, and it's getting worse every single day, or something's changing every single day, so you really have to keep active with it, which is something I used to not like to do, but I have to now. The only person you're competing with is yourself, which means you only worry about yourself. You don't need to worry about what everyone else is doing, especially with Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and everything that we consume nowadays. We're always so caught up with other people's lives that I think we miss out and forget to live some of our own. Right now, if you're watching this, you're spending time watching me, right? And you might get something out of this, you might not, but as it is, you're losing time watching this video, and if you watch another video after this and another video after that, you spend 2 hours watching videos. I saw this artist, I wish I remembered his name. It's probably quite famous, I don't know. But there's a photographer who did a series where he took a photo of a bunch of different rooms and people on the train and different environments in the park, and he photoshopped out everybody's phone. And some of these photos look like some kind of zombie apocalypse or something, where everyone is sitting there just like this with nothing in their hand, nobody's looking at each other, nobody's talking, nothing. And it's also, there's a lot of blackouts in Europe right now, I think it's Europe, I'm not too sure, I might be wrong on that. But a lot of the videos that I'm seeing from there now are people in the park interacting more than ever, playing pool, like playing cards, hanging out, listening to music from like downloaded stuff on their phone. Like, it's so much more connected, and I think this is funny. This is veering off of this chapter, I'll get back to it. But I think that it's funny because in a world where we're more connected than ever through technology and everything, we're the loneliest I think we've been, and the most misunderstood I think we've been as individuals. Like in the past, you yearn for more friendships, more connections, more interactions daily, and now you need less of that because you feel like you're getting some of your interactions through stuff like this. I think a lot of that is really interesting. And I think it's a little bit upsetting. People often, I hear this a lot from a lot of different people in New York, in like New York and yeah, like Brooklyn, Manhattan specifically, that they feel like it's a really lonely city, which is interesting because when you walk around New York, you walk around hundreds of thousands of people every single day. You become so numb to it that you kind of don't realize until you travel somewhere and come back to the city, and then you notice how many eyes are on you every single day. But you might only talk to 2 people a day, but you walk past thousands. I think to an extent it's a shame, especially when people are so self-conscious and also worried about being seen as like weird or that they have the wrong intention. And I think the internet has a lot to do with that, with the intention of interaction. The thing that I really don't like about it is, and it makes sense in a world that we live in, or in any world for that matter, it makes sense that people will be wary of others. Of course you should, but nowadays I feel like everybody's trying to get something out of everyone. And in relationships you should give and get, with like lessons and learning things and helping each other grow, but people have so many, I don't know, like specific things they're after, and it just comes down to greed at the end of the day. But coming back to this, then he goes into good habits, create good art. And this statement leads into the entire point of this chapter. It says, treat each choice you make, each action you take, each word you speak with skillful care. Discipline and freedom seem like opposites. This is a line that I've really struggled with in my life. Discipline and freedom seem like opposites. In reality, they're partners. Discipline is not a lack of freedom, it's a harmonious relationship with time. I'm somebody who always feels like I don't have enough time. And I'm saying that from a place where I do have enough time. Like, I subconsciously think that I don't have enough time so that I can do other things and feed my bad habits. And I've noticed that kind of reflecting on myself. Like right now it's 11:12, right? 11:12 p.m. And I want to work on a little bit of drawing. So I'm going to do that now. But usually I look at the time and be like, okay, it's 11:12. I'm feeling a little bit tired. So I'm going to brush my teeth, wash my face, do all like my routine. And I'm going to get in bed and watch maybe a show on Netflix and go to sleep. So I can be asleep by like 12:30 and wake up early. But that really doesn't help me in any way unless it's a show I really want to watch. But for the most part, a lot of the shows right now and a lot of what I would be watching right now, except I want to watch The Last of Us, which will give me something. But a lot of it is like nonsense television. It's not even good cinema. Like the acting is bad. And I'm not saying that in like a depressing way. It's just true. Like a lot of the acting right now is comedically bad because it's supposed to be. Like there's no effort into anything. They're just trying to push out stuff as fast as possible. If I was going to watch like a Wes Anderson film right now, I would get something out of that. If I was going to watch a Studio Ghibli, like specifically Miyazaki film right now, I would get something out of that. That would be worth my time. But if I'm going to go watch the newest hit show on Netflix, I don't think I'm going to get anything out of it. And that sounds really nice to me right now because it's what I'm used to and it's what I've always done throughout my whole life, pretty much. We used to rent DVDs on Netflix, and after that we got Netflix. And this is after Blockbuster. And then we would watch a movie every night. And then I got a TV when I was younger, or I didn't get a TV, I got a laptop. And I would watch Netflix in bed every night. And sometimes even in the morning when I wake up right before school, so it became like ingrained in me to do these habits. And I've realized now that I never question them and how much time they're taking out of my day and how much I'm giving to them. Like I'm taking away from my thoughts of being in the present, and I'm kind of giving it to this fake world of watching stuff, and YouTube is part of that. YouTube is especially part of that because you're so involved in other people's lives. Not in the sense like you're actually involved, but you're involved in the sense that you're watching and you're taking information about other people's lives that don't really give you anything depending on what you're watching. And I think a lot of kids today struggle with this. And it's not that it's a bad thing, I actually do think it's a bad thing. I think everyone's way too involved with other people's lives, and I think a lot of people don't live in the present enough. And I'm putting myself in that, and I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to think more in a more in a way of being in my reality, if that makes sense. Like this is where I live. This is my cat. This is my real cat. Like this is my life here, right? I don't need to watch a bunch of stuff and escape it for whatever reasons. I need to focus on what I'm doing here and now and figure out how to better myself, how to be healthier, how to make better relationships, how to become closer with my friends, how to evolve in my art as much as possible, how to come up with new ideas, new stories to tell, journal more, figure out more about myself and who I am and my wants and my needs, go outside, go for a walk. Like, even listening to music. How about I sit down one day and listen to music and I don't do anything else while I listen to it? I just listen and I take it in. I think that this is all really important stuff, and I am kind of talking about nothing right now, but I think I'm also talking about a lot. And it's gonna sound corny, but the time is now. If you want to do something, and I'm I'm terrible at this, and I'm trying to change this starting today after I read this. If I have an idea, do it now, right? Like, oh, I have this idea for this drawing. Sketch it right now. Make a voice memo on your phone. Write it down in as much detail as possible. Take everything you can and exhaust the idea immediately in a way that doesn't crush it. And by that, I mean you don't want to overwork the idea so much that you kind of go away from it or you don't let it grow. You want to map it out as much as possible without crushing it so that you can look at it tomorrow or in a week and know exactly what you were thinking and kind of move forward with that and build off of that.